Eala opens 2026 Australian Open campaign versus Parks. Manila, Philippines. Filipino tennis sensation Alex Eala will begin her 2026 Australian Open campaign against American Alicia Parks in the first round on Sunday at Melbourne Park, Australia. The 20-year-old Eala, who ranked a career-high number 49 in the world rankings after reaching the semi-finals of the 2026 ASB Classic in Auckland, earned a direct entry in the Australian Open for making the top 50. The 25-year-old Parks, on the other hand, is ranked 100th in the world. Eala repeats over Vekic at Kuyang Classic. Parks peaked at number 40 in the rankings last August 14, 2023, after winning her first WTA singles title in the 2023 Lyon Open. Parks is known for her killer serves, holding a record of 129 miles per hour that she set in the 2021 US Open, the fastest service recorded by a woman in US Open history, matching the mark set by Venus Williams in 2007. Eala, on the other hand, is known for her left-handed forehand movement and tactical counterpunch. Eala stands 5'9", while the American is taller at 6'1". Prelude, the dawn at Melbourne Park. The sun rose over Melbourne Park on that bright January morning with a pale, gilded shimmer, the kind that hints at possibility. The green hardcourts of Melbourne Park, freshly wiped by midnight dew, gleamed under the early light. Rod Laver Arena stood tall and iconic, an amphitheater of dreams and dramas yet to unfold. This was where history had been written countless times before, and today, it awaited another story. Among the throng of players, media, and fans moving like currents through the corridors of Melbourne Park, one name had become a quiet yet persistent whisper: Alexandra "Alex" Eala. At 20 years old, just barely, she was already a symbol of aspiration for millions. A few mornings ago, she had climbed to a career-high world number 49 after an impressive run at the WASB Classic in Auckland, where her resilience and flair had hinted at a breakthrough season. But this morning was different. This morning was Australian Open first round. And across the net would stand Alicia Parks, a powerful American whose serve could rattle the foundations of even the calmest competitors. For Eala, it wasn't just a match, it was the culmination of a journey stretching from suburban courts in the Philippines to the grand stages of tennis's most elite arenas. For Parks, it was one more test in a career defined by fire, a serve that could reach blistering speeds and a game sharp enough to surprise any opponent in the world. Their encounter wasn't merely athletic, it was emblematic. A young firebrand seeking affirmation, and a seasoned campaigner wielding experience like a weapon. It was light meeting storm. The walkout, echoes and heartbeats. For Eala, the walkway to Rod Laver Arena felt longer than usual. Every step seemed to compress time, each echo of her shoes against the concrete a reminder of what lay ahead. The vast sea of spectators blurred into one distant hum at first, but as she neared the player tunnel, the murmurs sharpened into distinct waves of excitement and expectation. There were Filipinos in the crowd, their brightly colored shirts and banners waving proudly, voices raised in support as if the entire archipelago had flown south just to witness this moment. There were Australians who admired her breakthrough energy. There were neutrals, already intrigued by the compelling narrative, a rising star making her Australian Open main draw debut. The lights of Rod Laver Arena felt immense, almost volcanic in their intensity. The center court's atmosphere, usually reserved for finals and thrillers, was already charged. It was as though every person present sensed that the first match of this unlikely tale might just set its course. Eala inhaled deeply, the scent of hard courts and freshly sprayed lines, the crisp tang of cold morning air. And then she stepped onto the blue surface, her sneakers making those first distinctive squeaks that define beginnings. Park's entrance was a quiet contrast. Focused, measured, with the air of someone who had played at this level before. She and Eala had never faced each other on the WTA Tour, which made their first meeting unpredictable. Two women. One court. An ocean of possibility. First set, momentum and measure. The early games were a chess match. Parks opened with her serve, that thunderous American power that had once recorded one of the fastest serves in US Open history. Balls launched like bullets, flashes of white tearing over the net, demanding precision and reaction. But Eala responded with calm. Her ground strokes had depth and spin, her movement suggested belief rather than fear. It was 8 games of tug-of-war. Eala's forehand danced cross-court with crisp authority. Park's backhand clips stayed deep, forcing Eala to adjust her angles. The crowd was hushed, each point greeted with palpable anticipation. Spectators leaned forward, sensing that this wasn't just a first round, it was a statement. Finally, at 4-4, Eala found her rhythm. A sequence of deft angles and well-placed drop shots spun the momentum in her favor. She saved breakpoint after breakpoint, her eyes unwavering with purpose. When she finally held to go up 5-4, the cheers surged like tidal waves. But Parks wasn't done. With her next service game, she unleashed a flurry of aces. The serve that once made statisticians nod in respect now rattled the arena with authority. A powerful backhand winner down the line clinched the game. Suddenly it was 5-5, and all bets were off. Cracks and ascents, turning tides. Eala's coach had preached patience. Find your rhythm, build the rally, and when the opportunity comes, you seize it. So that's what she did. At 6-6, with tension thick enough to taste, Eala began to play with intention. A serve out wide, a backhand down the line, a sprint forward to finish at the net, fluid and strategic. The crowd erupted. A single break to 7-6, and the first set was hers. Walking off the court, shoulders heaving, she felt something her entire career had been building toward, confidence reinforced by performance. Parks, ever the competitor, didn't show frustration. Instead, she reset, the kind of reset only a seasoned campaigner can achieve. Second set, power versus precision. Where the first set was momentum, the second was a war of styles. Parks began serving with ferocity, her rockets cracking the baseline like rifle shots. Many rallies were over before they began. But Eala had something even adept athletes covet: adaptability. She began to anticipate the power, redirecting the pace with deft backhands. She countered speed with placement, turning Park's strength into her own advantage. Still, Park's experience shone through, especially in her mental game. When she needed to deliver, she did. A clutch serve at deuce, a fearless forehand to save break points, all of these carved subtle cracks in Eala's composure. Halfway through the set, they were tied again. Then came a moment. A long rally at 4-4, a grueling exchange where neither player relented. A sliding backhand pass from Eala floated just beyond Park's reach. A collective gasp, and a shift in the crowd's energy. A break. Eala up 5-4. All she needed was one game. But Parks would not fade quietly. On serve, she hit 5 aces, each one punctuated like a shot of confidence into the sky. No unforced errors. No hint of fatigue. It was a statement of resolve. And suddenly it was 5-5.